So today we're going to talk about what it means to summarize a nonfiction text. Now in the past we've talked about finding the main idea, so as we talk today, be on the lookout for what's the difference between a main idea and a summary. You can also see that I have an image of balloons here on the screen, so keep that in mind. That's going to play into how we understand main ideas and summaries. And then you've seen this before. We do this with fiction and with nonfiction. We've got that upside down triangle to really help us see the different ways that we can react to a text and how they start off bigger and slowly get smaller with less and less information. So let's first think about that retell up here at the top. You'll remember from first and second, maybe a little bit into third grade, a retell is when you repeat all the parts of the text from your memory. And that works really great when you read short texts like you do in first and second grade. Right? Those stories are short, you can actually just tell all the details. But as you get higher up in school, your stories become more and more complicated, the texts you read become more complicated, and it would take a long time. It would just be like rereading the story. So that's the most information. The next one, where we pare it down a little bit more, is what we're focusing on today. It's summary. The summary is all the important ideas or events in order. And I put 3 to 5 sentences, and that's around a paragraph, but it's going to depend on what you're summarizing. If you summarize something short, your summary will be shorter. If you summarize something long, your summary will be longer. Also, notice I underlined important ideas or events. You're not going to be able to retell every single. If you told every single idea or event, you're back into retell territory. And that's not what we want to do. So we're only going to say the important ones. If you go down the columns even more, you get down to main idea. Main idea has even less information. It's just, it should say the most important ideas or events. You have to pare it down even more and think about what's the very most important. And that would be 1 to 3 sentences usually, depending again on how long your text is. And then if you go down even smaller, you're just at the topic. Remember, the topic is the subject of the text. The who, the what is it about? And it's usually just 1 to 3 words. So what really is a summary? Let's really dig in there. The summary of a nonfiction text means all the important ideas or events. And if you're summarizing a paragraph, you're going to usually have 1 or 2 sentences. There's only 1 or 2 important events or ideas in a paragraph. If you're summarizing a section, maybe under one subheading, it's usually around 2 to 4 sentences. And if you're summarizing an entire text, so like a whole article or a whole reading passage, you're usually looking around 5 or more sentences, and you write it like a paragraph. And you're going to get to see what that looks like tomorrow. So one of the things that's really hard for students, and to be honest, sometimes it's hard for teachers, is what's the difference between a main idea and a summary? And this is where I like to think of those balloons. This helps me think about it. So I've got all these balloons here. I like to think of that like the whole article. All the parts of the article. I've got some main ideas in there. I've got key details. I've got important events. I've got little added info that's maybe not important but interesting. I've got all the parts of the article. When I think of these balloons in the middle as being all the parts of the article, if I went in and popped the balloons that weren't important, if I only kept the most important ideas or events, then I would end up with just a few balloons. That's like the main idea. I popped all the stuff or let it go, the stuff that wasn't the most important, and I'm left with this little tiny bundle of just blue balloons. The main idea is just the most important ideas. Now, if I come back again, right here in the middle, to my great big bundle of balloons, remember that's like the whole text, and now I want to do a summary. I'm not going to let go as many balloons. I'm not going to pop as many. I'm going to keep more of them around because I want all the important ideas or events. The main idea, I've got to sift through and pick just the most important ones. But when I'm doing this summary, I want to list all the important ideas. So you'll notice this bundle of balloons has more balloons. Now I let go of some that were just details that were interesting, but not the most important. But you'll notice that the summary bundle of balloons hung on to more. There's more there. So a summary is going to be bigger than a main idea. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go back to our boxes and bullets strategy. We're going to use this same strategy that you guys have gotten good with for finding main idea, and I'm going to show you how to use that same strategy to find the summary. When we were doing main idea, we read a whole section, and you came in and you wrote the main idea of paragraph 1, and then you went back and reread, and you wrote the main idea of paragraph 2, and then you went back and reread and wrote the main idea of paragraph 3, and then you thought about all of these, and then you used it to write 1 or 2 really big sentences. You kind of found the most important parts of the whole thing. And that's just up here at the top, and then you just wrote this. This is my main idea. That's how we found the main idea. When I'm finding this summary, I'm not going to break it down and just get rid of these main ideas of each paragraph. When I write this summary, I'm going to include all of this information. So the main idea is like just what's at the top of the box. And the summary is the main idea plus all of the bullet points. So this is the big idea I want you to see, and I'm even going to go back to my balloon slide. The big idea is that a main idea is the most important ideas or events. The main idea is smaller. A summary isn't just the most important events, but it's all the important events. This is the big idea that I want you to understand today. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to do that.